Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Clearing Invoices and Orders in Quotations webinar. My name is Matt, a relatively new voice for you all, hopefully a welcome one at that. Any feedback at the end of the session is going to be more than welcome, just to help improve my sessions moving forward. Maybe even just tell me what you liked. That would be much appreciated. That's going to be at the end of the webinar. As well as my voice today, we are going to have one of the team's greatest brains at hand to answer any of your questions, and that is Michael in the chat. So if you've got any questions at all, fire away. He's here to answer them, and as I say, his knowledge is so expansive. Ask him anything that you can about Sage 50. Don't be shy. So, clearing invoices, orders and quotations is the order of business for today. What are we going to be covering? Let's have a quick look. So first off, we're going to be looking at why clear these records. Then we're going to be looking at backing up and archiving. We're going to be looking at demonstrations of backing up and archiving, demonstration of deleting invoices, demonstration of deleting sales purchase orders. We're going to have a demonstration of deleting quotations and also a demonstration of compressed data. As you can tell, demonstration heavy today. I think the most important part of today is going to be the handout. That's available for you to download at any stage, because that's going to have relevant links and information on there that you can go away and in your own time examine. Onto that, and on that subject, let's go over the housekeeping rules. So if you have been here before, you'll know the rules. If you haven't, here they are. Okay, your mics are automatically muted, so don't worry if you need to cough, sneeze, ask for a cup of tea, or tell Tiddles the cat to jump off the desk. We are not going to hear you. The message icon is also there for you to submit any questions. Again, with Michael at hand, fire them along. If we can't answer your question by the end of the webinar, we'll catch up with you afterwards. We'll point you in the right direction, or we'll send the answer to you via email. There's also, as I've mentioned, the handout preloaded. Please download that now. It takes 2 seconds, then it's done. If not, it's going to be available throughout the session. After the session, we will email you a copy of this webinar for you to rewatch if you want to listen to my voice again. Today's webinar was scheduled for around about 45 minutes. I'm going to be honest, it probably won't take that long. So you are going to get some time back, you'll be happy to hear. So what we'll do without further ado is we'll crack straight on. And as I say, any questions, just keep them coming in. Now then, clearing invoices, orders and quotations. Let's go through the why. So, completely optional process, as it says there. You don't have to do this. We recommend it, and it's a kind of having a spring clean, isn't it? You might want to just keep your records a wee bit tidier than what they presently are, but you don't have to do it. Now, the reason we do kind of recommend it is, one, keep your data up to date. You know, having records from 2001 all the way up to 2025, you're not going to have to search through pages and pages of information to find that relevant detail. Just to give you a kind of metaphor or comparative, what I always say is that Sage is a librarian. Your company is the library, and your data is the books. If you've got hundreds of thousands of transactions, hundreds of thousands of books in this analogy, you're telling the little librarian to search through all of that to find the relevant information. So the smaller you keep that data set or your library of information, the potentially quicker that the little librarian is going to be able to find that information for you. So as the third bullet point states there, it can speed up searches in the program, especially in reporting. The only negative, I think, if you even see it as a negative, is that it removes data permanently from your company. Once you've deleted something, it's gone. But that's why we always recommend doing backups and also archiving your data. Before we move on to that, just to explain the picture that you can see in front of you there, those are the data limits recommended in Sage 50. That's the maximum that we recommend. It's not written in stone, but it is kind of where we see the most performance start to change within the program. It's usually recommended, those numbers in front of you, you go to around about 80% of that figure. But as again, where it says click here for data limits on the handout, once you click that link, it'll take you straight to our help and about page, help center page, sorry, where you'll be able to have a look at the data limits. You'll be able to find that information in your help and about section. If you do have any queries about that, contact our chat team, or give us a call if you've got the subscription for the Inbound Call Centre, and they'll be able to go through some steps with you on how to tidy it up. But today we're going to be looking at clearing the invoices, orders and quotations section at the same time. I mentioned there, before you do anything, especially when it comes to deleting, because it's a permanent thing that you're going to be doing, you're going to be thinking about backing up, and you're going to be thinking about doing an archive. So quickly, just to explain the difference between the two, because often they can become a bit of a grey area for people. So forgive me again if I'm telling you something that you already know. But just in simple terms, a backup is a saved point in your live data that you can return to if there's been a mistake or an error, or you just want to go back. So it is a loading point from when you did the backup. All the information is going to be there from previous. Anything that you reload is going to have to be done again, essentially reprocessing. Now an archive is a wee bit different. An archive creates a read-only set of data alongside the main data. So it's a snapshot, it's like a photograph. And with it being read-only, it's not exactly that you could load it like a backup and continue to process. It's just going to display what you can already see, what's already been done in that kind of period in time. Most popular people do this at year end, do an archive, but it can be done at any time in the program. And it's a great thing to use for an audit, especially if you're deleting data. You might want to flick back and have a look. So what we'll do is we'll do a quick demonstration of what that would look like. I'm going to switch over to my program here, and hopefully you'll be able to see that. Superb. So this is my data that you'll see. Just imagine it's yours. Backup, nice and simple. File, backup. We haven't done anything, so I'm clicking yes here. Brings up this screen. What I would do before we delete anything is I would do an all files backup. Depending on your data size, depends on how long this is going to take. The more data, the longer the time. Also, it depends on the speed of your PCs and what have you. So select all files, change its name if you want to. It's up to you again. Click OK, backup done. Not going to dwell too much on that. There's a webinar next week with Michael on doing backups, the rules and regs and what have you. So attend that if you can. He'll go through everything for you. Now, archive. As I say, archives are a wee bit different. They're a snapshot. They're in a different area. So what we want to do is we want to click on Tools. We want to go down to Period End. And then we want to do Archive Company. So Archiving Company, when you click on that, we'll bring up this screen. And I'm just going to say in the description, pre-deletion, and maybe put the date. So I know that this archive is before I started deleting anything, and I click OK. And that is done that quickly. That's how easy it is. Now to view an archive, File, Open, Company Archive. Once you click on Open Company Archive, you're going to see here. You see, year end, it's the most popular time to do one, but I've got my pre-deletion one before I started deleting things. Good question from Nelly there that Michael's picked up with regards to data limits. I'll let Michael answer that one for you. So that is the archive essentially. If I want to open it, I'll click open. And you'll notice at the top of the screen here, it says archive. And I would log in as normal into my company. Same password. There we are. I'm now in the archive. To go back to the live company data, File, Open, Open Company Data. And there we are. Log in again. Superb. And I'm back into my live data again. So you can switch between an archive and your live data whenever you want to. Okay. So just switch back to my slides here. Wait for that to load. So just to summarize what we looked at there, backup and a couple of pointers on it. Number one, must be logged in as manager or have the relevant permissions to do a backup. It is something that you should be allowed to do. And the location is file, backup. Select all files, click OK, jobs are good. Archive, again, you must be logged in as manager or have the relevant permissions. Tools, period end, archive company. And that's it. It's as easy as that to do. And the 2 steps that we recommend must be done before you do any deletions. Because if you delete something and think, hang on a minute, I've deleted too much here, or I've deleted the wrong thing, it's a lot easier for you to go back to just before you start doing it than it is to either reprocess or start unpicking what maybe has happened. Okay, so keep your questions coming in. We're going to go back to the data now, and we're going to jump in to have a look at the invoices demonstration. So hopefully you can see the data in front of you there. I'm going to jump straight into my invoices and credits module on the left-hand side. As you can see, there's a fair few there. There's different outcomes for what we're going to be deleting. The process itself is quite simple. So let's first look at an invoice that hasn't been posted anywhere. It's just been created. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at this one down here for Asda, for £1,000 to Asda, big shopping trip. What I would do is I would either highlight it and go up here to the top of the screen, click delete, or I could right click, press delete. If, little tip here for you, if you wanted to delete multiple at once, your selection style does matter. So I have what's called the Sage selection style, where I can select multiple records at once. Just one click, one click. If you use the Windows selection style, you would have to hold down your Shift key in order to do that. But the Sage selection style lets you do a click, and then a click, and then a click, and the same process again, either right click or go up to the top of your screen and press delete. To keep this simple, I'm just going to delete the one record. So because this hasn't been posted, it hasn't affected any change or anything like that at all. So we just click delete. Now, before I click delete here, I want you to notice the invoice number is 169 there. I will click delete, and it's gone. When I go to do a new invoice for Asda again, I'm just going to quickly say they bought a copper bar from me. Quickly create it. Click save. Oh. Click save on that one. I'm going to pick a different company. Sorry, it's being a bit funny on there. That's fine. You'll notice the previous number of 169 has been used. We've deleted it, and it's jumped straight to 170. So what you can do is you can manually alter that, or you can manually restart the chain again. So when you do an invoice, it will start off at 169. We do have guides within the handout on that. We do have links for you. It's a completely separate conversation, but it was just to make you aware of something quickly, that the invoice number, once you've deleted it, it is gone. You can manually edit it back to 169 if you wanted to. So for example, I could go up here and I would just change the number here, 169, done. So it's just an FYI on that one. So for unposted invoices, just to really recap, nice and easy, right click, delete, done. No harm done, you've just deleted the paper copy. For a posted invoice, again, I'm going to pick on Asda here on the 11th of June 2024, £175. This has been processed. If we were to delete this way, we are only deleting the paper copy. We are not deleting the transaction. So if I go to my customers and I go to Asda activity, you'll see my activity screen here, 11th of June, invoice 160, there it is. It's in the activity, okay? If I was to delete that posted invoice, delete, on, invoice is gone, quite correct. If I go back to activity, it is still there. And that's because it has been posted. You are not deleting the transaction, you're merely deleting the paper copy, the electronic paper copy. A little analogy for this one is when you get your bank statement through the door and you open it up and you look at the transactions, If you crumple up that bank statement and put it in the bin, you're not deleting the transactions that are printed on it. You're just getting rid of the paper copy. That's showing you it. That's exactly what you're doing with these invoices if they've been posted. If you need to alter the transactions in any way, again, go to our help center. There's, depending on the scenario, there's going to be help there for you, or webinars with that we've done previously on how to edit the transactions or replace them. But again, just to recap, you're not deleting the transaction at all. Now, let's say you're doing a clear out and you want to get rid of all the invoices up to, but not including the 8th of January. So all these old invoices here. If you've got mountains and mountains of data, that could be quite the task. This is where applying a filter comes in handy. So what I would do is invoices and credits. I would click on filter. And just like Blue Peter, here's one I made earlier. What you would do is you would select where, and I would select the invoice date from the drop-down list. It's less than or equal to, so less than the date, but equal to, and in this instance, the 7th of January, because I want to see in front of me every invoice up until the 7th of January. I want to see every invoice that I am about to delete. I would click apply, and as you can see, that one invoice that I had for the 8th of January has disappeared, and now all I can see is all these old invoices. And like I say, one's dating back to 2005 all the way up to 2024. Now I want to delete all of these. Quite easy way of doing it would be to click swap, highlight them all, and then click delete. That would get rid of absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. If you don't want to delete your invoices, but you do want to just examine certain periods of time, you would simply just change this, the condition here. So again, click on filter, where, invoice date, and this time you do the opposite. It's greater than or equal to, and I would say 8th January 2025, click apply. And all I'm going to see now is the invoices that I want to see. So if you don't want to delete your invoices from 2005 and you only want to see the ones from a certain date range, just do the opposite filter. Again, this is going to be sent out to you in the handout as well. So if you can't remember it, the filters will be available for you just to apply. If you want to have a look around in your demonstration data and play around with the filters, I really more than recommend doing that. Demonstration data is a brilliant tool for you to practice this kind of thing. And I would more than recommend doing it when you can. So let's just quickly jump back to the slides, do a recap of what we've done there. So here we are, deleting invoices. Just to summarize, records need to be manually deleted. Sage has to be told that you want something to be deleted. It won't just delete something randomly. It needs to be instructed to do so. Check the customer's activity for confidence that the transaction is still there. Again, use demonstration data before you do it in your live data. Always a good recommendation. Filters can be applied with ease to search for the time periods that you want. There's an example of the filter on the screen there, again, available in the handout. We've also got a brilliant webinar from Michael on the filters and its capabilities. Definitely head on to our webinar website. It's going to be the link in the email we sent to you, and have a look for that one. Goes through all the tricks and tips you can do with filters to make finding the information you need more time saving. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to jump back to the program. We're going to be looking at quotations. Okay, so quickly jump back there. Hopefully you can see that screen there. It's loaded. I'm just going to delete my filters. There we are. So quotations. Now, not everybody uses this, but we'll do a whistle-stop tour of it. Quotations can only be deleted from the quotations module if they're marked as lost. Okay, you can't delete them if they're marked as 1, because when you mark something as 1, it automatically creates the invoice. Bit by bit though, step at a time. First, we'll demonstrate the 1. Here we have one that's marked as 1. An invoice has been created. If I was to click delete or right click and then go delete, either way, Sage is going to tell you only quotes with a state of lost can be deleted. So right click, mark as lost. Only open expired quotes may be marked as lost. Sage is basically telling you, no, you can't delete this. So when you mark a quote as one, it creates an invoice in the invoices and credits module. You have to manually go in and delete that. If it's been posted, recycle what we've just gone over in the posted, not posted, deleting invoices. If it hasn't been posted, again, you're just deleting the paper copy. So that's the important thing to remember when it comes to one quote, is they cannot be deleted because you've basically said that's it, done. So you have to manually make the adjustments there. Okay. Now, if it's marked as open and we click delete, again, only quotes with a state of lost can be deleted. So we would say mark as lost. Please confirm that you wish to mark the selected quote as lost. Yes. Then, once it's marked as lost, either right click delete at the top. This will also delete the associated sales order or invoice which may have been posted. Yes, gone. Easy as that. So the only sticking point really with quote is if it's marked as one, you won't be able to delete it. You'll have to manually go in and delete the invoice and order afterwards. There we have it. I'm just going to jump back to the slides here and we'll do a summation. Deleting quotations. So quotations can only be deleted from the quotations module if they're marked as lost, as was displayed there, and quotations which may have been won. Remove either sales and invoices, or credits, or sales order modules. Again, in the handout, when you've got this, you'll be able to practice it and go through all your demonstration data. Superb. So next, we're going to be looking at deleting orders. So this is another popular one. Let me just quickly switch to the program there. Not the demonstration slide that you saw in front of you. I think you see behind the curtain a wee bit. So here we are back in the program, and we're going to be looking at sales orders and purchase orders work the same. We're going to have a look in sales orders here. Okay, but it's the same process. So just follow this step by step and it'll be fine. Things to note here is there are different allocated or unallocated, essentially. So if it's been fully allocated, part allocated, or nothing done with it yet, there's differences. Okay, so if the order has no status in this column, it's blank, go ahead and just delete the order. Absolutely. It's going to affect nothing whatsoever. It's just going to delete the record. Gone. Easy as that. Okay. If the order is in part or full, as this one here is, essentially it means that the allocation on the product record is also going to be deleted as well. So if this stock has been fully allocated to the order and you go ahead and you delete this, it's also going to delete the allocated stock for it. So if we have a look again at ASDA, we have a look at this copper bar that I created before, quantity of 1. So we've got 1 allocated. If I go to my products and services, copper bar, check it here, you can see that I have 32 and 1 on order. Now, if I'm to go back to my sales orders and delete, either by right clicking and deleting, or, bear me a second, right clicking and deleting, or going up to the top and clicking delete, and I go back to check my copper bars, those figures have changed. So if it has been allocated, by deleting it, you will remove the allocation at the same time. There we go. Spot on. Bear with me just 2 seconds, just having a bit of a malfunction on my other screen at the moment. Superb. Now, if you are to delete an order that has been completed, you must manually adjust the stock yourself, because by completing and dispatching that order, you've told Sage, yeah, this is done now, this is finished. So when you go and delete that dispatched order, Sage isn't automatically going to undo what you've done. You have to manually go back and adjust the stock. Again, I'm not going to go into stock adjustments or anything like that at all. We do have webinars and help guides on our help center, which can be sent across. But that's the key point to remember. To delete a dispatched order which has been completed, you must manually adjust the stock at the same time. Any questions on this, please keep them fired in. Michael is waiting. He's cracked his knuckles. He's waiting and waiting for questions. So please fire them all on when you can see them. Going to jump back to the summation of the slides there. So hopefully you can see the slide in front of you. Deleting orders. So for orders where stock is allocated or on order, the allocation is removed on the product record and the order can still be deleted. And for orders that have been completed, you must manually adjust the stock as well as deleting the invoice that was created. So hopefully that makes sense to you all. Superb. So I'm just going to jump back to my program. And what we want to do now is, now that we've deleted the relevant records, the invoices, the orders and the quotations, what we will want to do is we'll want to look at compressing. We mentioned it at the start there. It's compressing the data. So again, to use the library analogy, what you've done is you've taken loads of books, you've got rid of them. There's loads of empty space on the shelf. In order to maximize the efficiency of what you've just done, you want to squash those books back together and create more space in order for the program to be quicker, in order to create that room within your company and on your hard drive as well, or server, depending on how you're based. So let's have a look quickly at how we do that. Again, you must be logged in as manager or have the relevant permissions for this. Okay, quite an easy process to do. So what we would do is, when we are in our program, we would click on File, down to Maintenance. We're okay with that. We're always okay with that. And this window here will pop up. What we're looking for is in the top right-hand corner, compressed data. If you're as old as I am, you might remember this when you used to have to defragment your hard drive and your personal PCs. Same kind of process, squashing everything together to create that room. Depending on what you want to do and your data size depends on how long this is going to take. My recommendation as a technician, at the same time as a Sage technician, is to compress all your data files. If you're here, you might as well do it once. I know you're not doing this along with me, but when you come to do this, an FYI, what I would recommend is taking a backup first. After you've deleted what you want to delete, take a backup, do an error check, make sure that everything that you've done is absolutely fine, that the data is in good health. Once we know that the backup is done, once we know that it's all in good health, come and compress your data. And you would just do as I've done there, click compress. There we are. Now we've freed up loads of space, depending on how much you obviously have deleted. And your program, you're going to see benefits in your program and how it runs. A little librarian is going to have a lot less to do. She's running around looking for books. Superb. So let's go back to the slides. There's a little bit of a summation on the compressing of the data. So after deleting your records, compress the data to reduce its size, improve the performance of your program itself, and also it might be better visually for you just to have X amount of data in front of you to look through. Always ensure that you've got an error-free backup prior to running the routine. It's always good practice to have backups all the time. The option, again, is easily found, File, Maintenance, top right-hand corner there, you've got compressed data. So keep the questions coming in. I've had a couple of good ones. Summary of what we've looked at today. So cleaning your records. Just to underpin it, it is an optional task, no obligation to do these. We do recommend it. It's good data management, keeps everything flowing nicely. Clearing all the data will allow you to work more efficiently in your data set as well. It's like having a spring clean of your desk. You'll now know where everything is, where it was. Always ensure you take full backups to ensure you've got a return point in case any errors are made. But before you do any kind of major processing in your program, I always recommend doing a backup. It's easier to restore than it is to unpick anything that may have gone wrong. Always do an archive as well. It doesn't hurt having a read-only snapshot of what you need to be doing, and compressing the data that allows you to reclaim that disk space that you've just created, and it will make sure that things are running a lot quicker at the same time. So if you could just ask any questions that you can, again, Michael is at hand just to answer them. I'm going to go through the remainder of the slides now while we wait for them to come through. So help and resources, what I'm going to be sending you is a link to how to delete old records, delete customer and supplier records, very handy, and also the access rights, because you may want to delegate this job to somebody, but if they don't have the correct rights, they're not going to be able to do it. So that will be a stopping point before you've even started. So it's always good to have a look at the access rights just to make sure that your users can do the jobs you want them to do. Upcoming webinars, January, what's coming around the corner. So we're having a bit of a theme at the moment of clearing out the old year, bringing in the new, and we're going to be looking at clearing records and the data management tool. I'm going to be hosting that one next Tuesday. It's a tool that is within Sage. I'm going to be explaining the benefits of it and the ease of it and everything that it can do. It's a magnificent tool that's new to the last 2 versions. Company archives, Tuesday the 21st, and that's going to be with Michael, January, at 2 o'clock. And a really, really popular one is the VAT return, part 1, Monday the 27th of January as well. We've also got our Banking Excellence badges coming up in February. Go to sage.co.uk/webinars to sign up for that. Big event, really, really big focus on making you all excellent bankers, essentially. Head down to Sage University. We've got loads of bite-sized videos for you there to digest and to increase your learning and your knowledge of the program itself. It looks like all the questions have dried up, and that Michael has been on top of them all. So what I would like to do is just give Michael a great big thank you for helping out today. Also, thank you all for your attendance at the same time. Much appreciated. We love hearing feedback from you on the sessions as well. So please fill in the forms on your way out. Other than that, though, I'd like to thank you for your time and give you about that 12 minutes. Make yourself a cup of tea and just enjoy the rest of your day. So again, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.